As I'm sure you're well aware, the software engineering market is really, really tough right now. And whether it's about AI automating entry-level jobs, the never-ending leak code grind, or just constant layoffs, there's tons of negativity on the internet about how difficult it is to get a job, especially in computer science. But if there's one central repository we can rely on, one road that all the rest of the negativity roads lead to, that's r/csMajors. As I've said several times on this channel, I believe one of the highest leverage things you can do to improve your chances of getting the job and by extension compensation you want, especially in engineering, is honing your resume. And so in today's video, I want to go through some of the recently posted resumes as part of the most controversial subreddit in engineering's resume roast mega thread. Hopefully we can help these people out and provide some good advice, and hopefully that advice is of value to you too. So if this is your first video with me, welcome. I'm the Unhinged Engineer. I've been working as a software engineer in the aerospace space for a little while now, and I've worked in every possible position, from intern to entry-level software engineer to interviewing other people for jobs to work alongside me, and I've seen it all. And I really can confidently say that there are a few key things that distinguish a good resume from a great one. And actually, my last video was entirely about that topic, looking at some old resumes of mine. So if that's something you're interested in, check it out after this one. But without further ado, let's dive headfirst into r/csMajors. So I have not seen any of these resumes before. I honestly don't even know how many we're gonna get through in this video today, but let's just jump right into it and see how this goes. So I'm not really gonna look at the Reddit posts that come alongside these resumes. Obviously there's lots of context, it's really important, but I just wanna look like in general, what's advice that these people can benefit from regardless of what they're trying to do specifically, and hopefully you guys can benefit from too. So, okay, so this is the most recent one, right? Most recent, 3 days ago. Okay, so still activity in this chain, which is good. Here we go. Bachelor's in CS. Right away, this does look like Jake's resume template, which is the template I use. I talked about that extensively in my last video. So yeah, Jake's resume template, always a good one to use. Full stack, Java, C++. Okay, cool. All right, I mean, yeah, honestly, the formatting, this is a boring answer, but I love this formatting, right? I love Jake's resume template. It's standard, it's clean, gets the job done, so no complaints there. Also, it looks like this person is still in school. Software engineering intern, real-time alerts dashboard using Angular, TypeScript, and Java. Love bolding the keywords and technologies. Like I said, I do that on my resume. Help teachers and counselors monitor student distress. Implemented serverless backend workflows enabling. So this person is definitely also following the XYZ method. They have a number here, but are missing one here. I mean, obviously, not everything's gonna be quantifiable in that way, but pretty solid. Has it they work remotely too. IT support assistant, resolve 250 support requests for faculty, staff, and lab environments. Yeah, all these bullets seem good so far. Machine learning researcher and blue team member. Yeah, I mean, these all seem pretty solid. I feel like I'm giving lame advice right now because it seems good to me. Let me scroll down to projects here, right? Projects and technical skills. So I have never really worked in app development, so I don't know how good of a project this is, but I mean, it seems like creative at least, which is always a good thing. I mean, I'm assuming this person's into sneakers, and that's why they made a app center around it, which is good. I really like that they have the technologies listed here too. That's always solid. Yeah, and then easy synonym dictionary. And then technical skills at the bottom. Pandas, make sure you capitalize pandas there. Yeah, a little bit capitalization. Could use some work at the bottom there. Okay, so overall, I mean, I think this is honestly a solid resume. You know, this is like kind of not particularly actionable advice, but if I had to complain about one thing, it's just that, you know, their experiences are kind of all over the place. Like, it seems like they have pretty broad interests. I mean, web applications and API design, full stack, right? Doing everything. And then Java, C++, and Python all are very different to work in. So I think this person is kind of going for like jack of all trades, master of none, which personally, I think like early in your career, especially when you're still in school, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But unfortunately, I do believe that people hiring interns, they usually have something or some project they're trying to get done. And so they want someone with like specific pertinent experience that they can contribute immediately. Because at the end of the day, the intern's gonna be gone in like 3 to 6 months. So that does make it difficult. But I have been in this position before where you have a bunch of like disparate experiences that are all good, but there isn't really that central like narrative structure. So like I said, I don't have a lot of context about this person, obviously. I guess the best advice I would try to give is take all of this experience, which seems legit, especially for somebody still in school, and try to kind of tailor it into a story with a beginning, middle, and end, and that end being the job you want. So like work backwards from the specific kinds of positions you're looking for, and then try to color your projects and positions in that light, even the skills. So if you're trying to do like machine learning, just for argument's sake, try your best to tailor these things to machine learning. For example, I would assume most machine learning positions really like if somebody's had cloud computing. They have AWS here, really stress that. If you're trying to like get a security information job, then maybe add more bullets here, try to integrate anything you did to do with security into these two positions at the top. Yeah, same thing goes for the project. So yeah, overall, I mean, I don't think this is a terrible resume at all, but just always ways you can improve. Okay, let's go to the second one. Okay, so also seems like Jake's resume template or something similar. Okay, so the formatting of how the PDF's getting showed here is a little weird, so I gotta keep it small. Apologies for that. But let's get right into this. Jake's resume template again, enough said. Education, doesn't really specify where they went, that's fine. This is all anonymous, right? Have a master's, which is good, or they're still in the process of getting a master's. Okay, Android developer intern. Company name, developed a Kotlin-based Android application. Good XYZ method here. Quantifying impact, that's really good. 15% there. Really like that. Substitute teacher for some public schools. Cool. STEM teacher, lead TA. Yeah, I would probably say, I don't know what class this was, but maybe be a little bit more specific. Especially here too, like obviously we're looking for computer science jobs, so if you could tie it back to STEM somehow, that's good. So this is STEM teacher, this is science, we just try to like blast the science in there, right? Okay, project, Nuzlocker. Developed a Pokemon Nuzlocke planner. I don't know what a Pokemon Nuzlocke planner is. With Angular. Containerized using Docker and Docker Compose. I'm gonna come back to that. Let's just get through all the projects. I don't know what this means. I don't know if that's a C++ thing I've just never stumbled on. Okay, so honestly, I think these projects are pretty strong. I really like the way they write out their bullets. I think this is like great, classic XYZ method, like what you did, how you did it, and impact, which is good. First of all, I would say like don't write out Docker and Docker Compose. Docker Compose is just part of Docker. It just kind of makes it look like you're reaching a little bit. Obviously, Docker Compose is a different thing from Docker, but at the end of the day, if you know Docker, just say you know Docker. C++, let me actually look up VST/VST. Great. Is this a C++ thing or a music thing? Audio plugins. So yeah, I would probably specify what VST, like these are, the fact that these are audio plugins, because unless you're familiar with that, I wouldn't really know. But I do like this seems really promising. I don't know if you're looking for C++ experience specifically, but overall I do like that project a lot. As for work experience, I would maybe consider consolidating these in some way. Well, they are at different companies, so that's difficult, right? Like this is a public school, this is a university, and this is ID Tech. I guess what I'm trying to say is there's nothing wrong with having, other less related work experience if that's what you have. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I would try to paint it as one experience, or maybe do, I don't know, this is tough because substitute teacher versus TA versus STEM teacher are all very different. But what I'm trying to say is right now you look like 3/4 teacher, 1/4 developer, which if we're going for developer jobs, that's not great, right? So I would say overall, try to consolidate these and really, really scream STEM. It sounds like you've been doing teaching in STEM. ID Tech thing, you literally have programming in here. So just try to make it as STEM coded as you possibly can. Then let me refresh my page, my markups go away. Another critique I would make here is that you list yourself as an Android developer. Obviously you did make Android applications, but I think that you're kind of cornering yourself, pigeonholing yourself by saying you're an Android developer intern. Because if you apply for any job that doesn't have Android developer in the name, it's gonna look like you're not a good fit for the position. If you just make it software developer if you really want. Software developer, or you could say software developer and then in parentheses, Android application, something like that, but just Android developer intern just kind of boxes yourself in, and you might be saying, oh, this is probably just a title that he had on his offer letter or while they were working there. I don't really care. Just change the damn title, it's fine. Nobody's gonna verify that, right? Don't make yourself founder and CEO, but if you were a software developer, just write that you were a software developer, or even software engineer if you want to go that far. So yeah, I think by writing Android developer in there, it just kind of pigeonholes yourself. But overall, this is a great resume format. Seems like you're still in school, so best of luck with that. Yeah, that's basically it. So let's go on to the next one. Everything got really tiny. I don't know. Okay, next one. So different formatting this time. I honestly don't hate it. I think it's pretty clean and readable. Also, they have, is this like a real, can't click it. I don't know if on many resume parsers, these links would actually work. I don't know. I mean, maybe Reddit's just rendering it as an image here, but yeah, I don't think the formatting is bad at all. I like the font too. It gets a little small when you're getting into the tools here, but overall I like it. Okay, let's get to the top here. So test name, computer science engineering, 2026, still in school. So a lot of people still in school here. All good. Okay, experience. Got 2 internships. REST API endpoints for university timetabling system. Additional scheduling constraints. Okay, so not really quantifiable impact here. Even if it's not quantifiable, I think I would still try to have the bullet kind of come to a conclusion of like why this work was valuable, which these don't really seem to do. They just kind of talk about like what you did, which is a good start, but I definitely would wrap it up like that. Yeah, same thing here with the data science part. I mean, I would assume competitive landscape insights. I would hope that there's at least a couple of insights that were drawn from this work, and I would definitely try to include those in the bullets. I mean, like BERT and Roberta models, like these are all good, you know, machine learning things. Like if you're working in the space, you've heard of all these things. But I just think having that XYZ, Z being the drive home is really, really important. And these are kind of missing that. So getting down to project. So, I mean, these seem a bit more beginning, middle, and end, which is good. Definitely a lot of bullets, which, I mean, this seems like a lot of good work. So I wouldn't say that that's a problem, but just something to keep in mind that like each of the projects kind of like outweighs the internships just in terms of real estate, which if that's what you're working with, that's all good. AI powered chat microservice, real-time messaging system with Java Spring Boot. Okay, kind of same thing. I mean, I think all these bullets are good. Honors and awards. I would remove this. I mean, they're still in school, so like I guess it's fine, but personally I would just remove it. It just kind of says student, which again, this is the wrong being a student, but we want to look like we have 25 years experience. Okay, leadership experience. I would honestly, I would scrap this stuff at the bottom and try to flesh out your internship positions more. Again, not that there's anything wrong with these experiences, like or even the honors, like I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but I just think that they're kind of stretching to the point that it starts to scream student, and we really want to look like we're like a working professional, even while in college. Like I remember when I was a freshman, the first thing I did was I took all the relevant courses I was doing, like calculus or like computer science 101, and I put them on my resume. And I was talking to a senior who worked in the same lab as me, and the first thing he did when I asked him for advice was he like scrapped the whole thing. And it's like, they don't care that you took Calc 1. It just screams that you're a student and nobody's gonna hire you, right? It just shows that you're early. So, you gotta care about the impression you're giving off, even if the actual content itself is not bad at all, which I don't think this is. So I would definitely say scrap this stuff at the bottom, flesh out the internships more, try to put them at the same level of depth that you do with these, because I think like the projects you spell out really, really well, but the internships could use a bit more work there. But yeah, and the formatting, I like the formatting. I would just verify that it's actually getting parsed correctly, because like I said in my last video, my resume looks pretty too. Like I think this looks fine, but when I put it in a parser, it came out like scrambled eggs, so you want to make sure that's not happening. So I would definitely check that this gets parsed correctly, and if not, fix it, because that's the most important thing. So, okay. How many have we done so far? 3? A lot of comments here. I'm not going to read them. 4. Okay. Here we go. Summary. So I have mixed feelings about summaries. I try to avoid them. I just feel like they take up a lot of real estate and don't provide a ton of value. But you know what? I should read it first. Let's see. Computer science, master's student with experience building AI and full stack systems. Passionate about creating elegant, user-first products. Strong contributor. Yeah, I don't. This kind of seems like a word burger. It's good that you mentioned that you want to do AI stuff. That's something you're interested in. But I mean, looking at your projects right here, that's kind of blatantly obvious, which is a good thing. But yeah, personally, not a huge fan. But let's keep going. Okay, so Master of Science in Computer Science, Intro to AI. I don't know if those are supposed to be like courses or something, but that's okay. Bachelor of Technology in CSE. ML intern. Developed and fine-tuned LSTM and GRU model. Yeah, these are pretty legit experiences here. So it looks like the first chronologically, experience doesn't really have anything to do with ML, which is fine. That's completely fine. Not everything I did had to do with autonomy, and that's what I was looking for. So yeah, I still think these bullets are also really strongly worded in a good way. Sorry, that came out weird. WIM for long context retrieval. I like that he has tools here. I would wonder how they use like PyTorch, TensorRT, and Onyx all in the same project, because like I don't see PyTorch or Onyx mentioned. I do see CUDA, TensorRT, cool quantization stuff. I've done that before also. Yeah, I don't really know where PyTorch and Onyx fit in there. If that's something that's important to you, I would maybe try to make that more clear. GraphRag chatbot, LangChain. Let me try to zoom in. Solid. I actually do like that you mentioned GitHub Actions and Docker, because those are just infra tools that if a shop really uses those a lot, then it's good that you show here. So I think that's fine. Even though this is like less XYZ-ish, I do think that there's value in saying that you've worked with the peripherals before. Because if you've just done all this stuff in a classroom, you've never actually worked on real projects, or never done projects that force you to use these tools, which is another thing I've talked about in previous videos, it could lead to a long ramp-up time for you, and they don't want that. So, okay, technical skills. Wow, a lot of skills here. C++, C#, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I would maybe try to trim this down. Yeah, I would definitely try to trim down the skills section. I like that you have it at the bottom, which is good. But I think that by putting so many, you kind of like cheapen the ones that you are better at and have that depth. And like I said in one of the earlier resumes, it's like, you don't want to come off as jack of all trades, master of none. Is this person still in school? I can't really tell. In any case, I would maybe remove a few of these that are either less emphasized in the like resume itself, or you just care about less. I look at the wall of text, I'm like, I don't care. This just seems like fluff. But yeah, again, Jake's resume template. I'm a little bummed. I was hoping I'd get some like crazy looking formatting, but 3/4 of them have been Jake's resume template, and the one that wasn't seemed completely fine as long as it's parsable. But I do really believe in what I said earlier about like check the skills here and down here. Like you don't want to cheapen out. You want to make sure that you're really talking about things that you're actually good at and actually want to do. For example, I have 2 years of year and a half FPGA experience. You will catch me dead putting that on my resume because I hate FPGAs. So only put work that you have done and are willing to do again on your resume here. And then the summary statement, I would just scrap it. I don't think this contributes anything. I think you have like solid experience here and you spell out those experiences well. But I would definitely like remove the summary and just kind of, again, before getting into the good stuff you've done, my impression is just like fluff, right? Which this resume doesn't have a ton of fluff. So I would definitely just remove the summary statement there. All right, let's do one more. John Smith, finally a real person. No, I'm kidding. Okay, so University of State, love that. BS in computer science, good GPA. Another thing I have mixed opinions about, like I said earlier, that story about me putting the relevant coursework. I don't know. I think if you've gotten through enough courses that are like relevant, then there's nothing wrong with that. Like I have relevant courses on my resume, mainly for like the tail end of my bachelor's degree, and then the stuff I've done in my master's, which my master's is like a professional one, so I can kind of just pick. So what I'm trying to say is they're all relevant. I don't really know what kind of position this person's going for yet, but they have a ton of stuff here. So maybe trim that down, but let's keep going. Okay, we got software engineering intern, web development, and information technology. Automated camera performance checks. I put a number there. Hopefully there's some way of measuring it, or an educated guess, wink, wink. Engineered a full stack tool using Angular and Spring. Cool, I like that second bullet a lot. Implemented a systemd service. Interesting. That seems like a pretty interesting position, actually. Again, with the titles, I'm personally a believer that titles are kind of fluid. So I would honestly maybe consider like writing this as like computer vision intern if you're comfortable. If you were referred to as working on computer vision stuff, because this seems like really cool experience. Obviously like changing from like software engineer to computer vision is like a bit of a stretch, but if you can pull it off, I would advise it because this is a really cool computer vision experience. Anyway, web development intern, insurance company, 1,000+ website revision requests. Wow. I don't really know. Is that like, I hope that's not 1,000+ PRs, because if so, that's like criminal. Develop front-end code changes. This person's font seems a little bit lighter. I don't know if they did something to change that in Jake's resume template. But I would maybe consider bolding the keywords, because you got some really good ones in here. You got a RAG thing in there, like all good keywords. I actually like this IT position. I think these are good bullets for an IT position. for sure. Projects, local county ballots, drop boxes, capstone. Good bullets here. 3D graphics, voxel engine, very cool. If you used any specific like hardware for this, like I don't know if you used GPU or something, it doesn't really look like it, but you mentioned multi-threading, so I just think that's a cool project personally. Okay, and then technical skills. Again, you know, the other, I would just trim that down a bit. Languages, Python. I wouldn't write x86 as a language. That doesn't really, I mean, unless you've written it like by hand, which God help you if you have. Okay, so overall, I mean, you know, this kind of seems like a theme with these resumes. I think they're good. They're just broad, and that makes it harder for people to hire you, because you really want that like narrative structure of saying like, this is the kind of position I'm going for, and this is why all these experiences custom tailor me to that position. And so like, I don't think there was really any resume out of all of these that didn't seem like this is good work. But I do think that there wasn't really anybody that I could tell, like without having read the stuff from the Reddit chain, because you know the recruiter's not gonna be able to do that. Like I would ideally like to pull open the resume and say like, oh, this person wants a computer vision job. And I don't really think any of these I could do that. I think I was just kind of looking at these bullets and like these were all, you know, perfectly reasonable things to work on and have as projects. You know, there wasn't like a ton of fluff except for like the objective statement and then the honor stuff, but on different resumes. But at the end of the day, I just think the problem is, are you a good fit for specific positions? Because recruiters are only hiring for one or a handful of positions at a time, and you really want to like cut through that noise. And I just think that, you know, this one, this kind of just seems like a good computer science student. That's really what it seems like. So yeah, that would be my advice, is really sit down and think about the kinds of jobs you want, or like if you already know the jobs you want, like look at those, you know, application portals or whatever, and like work backwards from that. Because right now it just kind of shows that you're a good, you know, good candidate in general, but you really have to be a great candidate for one thing, and then that's a little bit missed out on here. All right, guys, we got through 5 resumes today. I think we're gonna call it there for now. I will definitely be doing more of these videos, because A, I think it's really helpful to look at like resumes and work backwards from them instead of just giving like blanket advice. And B, in my opinion, it's good content. So there will definitely be more of these resume first videos, but I hope the one you watched today was valuable to you. In close, I don't think any of the resumes we looked at today were really awful. I think that the projects they were talking about were good. The way they spelled out the bullets were fine. I could tell a lot of them were working with the XYZ method, which I think is kind of a go-to. But I do think that they, in general, lack kind of like a central narrative. And I think that that central narrative of what positions you're looking for and why you're a good fit for them is really, really crucial to actually getting results. So that would be my overall advice for any of the people who posted their resumes, if they're watching. If not, hopefully you can just apply that to yours. So thanks so much again for watching. I am the Unhinged Engineer. I am a entry to mid-level software engineer myself. And so, as I'm sure you know, the market right now is pretty crazy. There's a lot to decipher. There's a lot to like really try to wrap your head around. And I'm still doing that myself while trying to be successful in my career. And if that's a journey you're interested in walking alongside me on, then I would highly recommend you like, comment, and subscribe. And also, if you have any feedback on the resumes that we talked about today, any disagreements with the feedback I gave, I would definitely drop a comment below. So thanks all for watching, and I will see you next time.